and welcome to Songkla Rajapat University's English for Communication 1. Today we're looking at Unit 6, talking about feelings, health and well-being. And we're looking at Part 2, a little bit of grammar. In this unit, we're going to talk about the present simple tense. So you may remember a long time ago in a unit far away. Sadly, I'm a Star Wars fan. We already talked about present simple, and we looked at how we use different subjects, I, you, we, they, and he, she, it, for present simple tense. So our subject with the infinitive, I, you, we, they, and the subject, he, she, it, is the verb, the infinitive, but we add SES or IES. On the negative, the subject, I, you, we, they, do not or don't with the infinitive. He, she, or it does not, doesn't with the infinitive. The question, do, I, you, we, they, and the infinitive, or does he, she, it with the infinitive. And answering the questions with short answers, yes or no. I, you, we, they, do or don't. Yes, I do, no, I don't. And we looked at those in the earlier units. So today we're going to look at a slightly different aspect of it. When do we use present simple tense? What's it for? Well, the present simple tense indicates an action which happens in the present. It happens now. But it doesn't have to be happening right now. There's a few different ways it's used. And these are the things that you can use it for. It tells us about unchanging situations. I work in education. Last year, I was working in education. Now, I am working in education. And in the future, I will be working in education. So the situation's the same. It's unchanging. General truths. It is hot in Thailand. Thailand is a hot country. It's the simple tense, it's just true. Scientific facts. This could be basically the same as a truth. The earth travels round the sun. That just is true. It doesn't actually have to be true or a scientific fact. The earth is flat. If you're a flat earther, you think it's a scientific fact, but you also think that, well, you're just a lunatic. So, the idea of a scientific fact. One of the most common uses for present simple is when we talk about a routine, the things we do all the time. So, for example, I get up at 6 a.m. every day. I get up, I go to work, I eat breakfast, and so on. Fixed arrangements, things that are going to happen at a particular time in the future. The concert starts at 8 p.m. It's not happening now, it's happening tonight, next Tuesday, but it's set. It's not going to change between now and then. And frequently occurring events, things that happen repeatedly, much like a routine. He shouts all the time. So all of those are scenarios where we can use the present simple tense. The second thing we're going to take a quick look at today is the idea of regular and irregular verbs. Verbs in English, these are the two main groups we split them into when we start learning verbs. Regular verbs follow a pattern when we form the past tense or past participle. And that means we basically add ed to the end of the verb. Unless it ends in an E, then we just add D. Or if it ends in a Y, but only after a consonant, then we change the Y to I and add ED. Examples of that you can see below. Work, works, which we saw from the previous units using present simple. Regular verbs have different past tense and past participle, which we use with other tenses than present simple. Worked, worked, and the present participle working. The last column here, I'm going to come back to this, the final sound, okay? This is the sound the ED makes, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Play, plays, played, played, playing. You notice a vowel before the Y, so we just add ED. If it's a consonant before the Y, then we need to change it. Dance, dances. It already ends in an E, so we just add D. Danced, danced, dancing. Clarify, an F before the Y. You see that when we change for he, she, it, it's an IES. The same thing happens. We change the Y to I, add ED. Clarified, clarified and clarifying. And finally, the example want, wants, wanted, wanted. Making, wanting. My apologies. For some reason I made another little typo there. So, this final sound, ED endings in English can make three different sounds. Sometimes they make a T sound, T. Sometimes they make a D. And sometimes they make an extra syllable, id. The example, work, work. Dance, danced. So things that end in a K or S. Unvoiced sounds at the end, we make a T. Other words, most of them, a D sound, D. Played, clarified. If the verb already ends with a T or a D sound, then we add a syllable, id. Want, wanted. Succeed, succeed, id. Okay? So you can use those to practice and look out for regular verbs. Most verbs are regular. So regular, normal, the usual. The hard part in English is learning the irregular verbs. Some of the most common ones don't fit this pattern. Now, sadly, with irregular verbs, the past tense and past participle don't match up the rules. They can be the same, they can be different, they can be the same as the infinitive. You really just have to learn each of these on their own. There are about 200 or so. Learning the top 10 or 20 will help you move along with your English. I put a few examples here just to give you an idea. So here we have swim, I swim, he swims. Yesterday I swam, I have swum every day this week. I love swimming. Go, goes, went, gone, or going. Come, comes, came, come. Eat, eats, ate, eaten. Make, makes, made, made. So you see there's examples of each of these where the past tense and past participle are the same, but not just an ed ending. ate, eaten, where they're different. The past tense is different, but the past participle is the same as the infinitive. There are even some where everything is the same. Cut, cut, cut for the infinitive, the past tense, and past participle. So it's something that you should practice and try to learn as many of the irregular verbs as you can. When you see any unusual words like that, it will help you understand to build up a vocabulary of these. Thank you very much for watching the video today. Good luck with learning your regular and irregular verbs.